The Texans travel to Arrowhead to face the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. Last time this happened, 2019 season, Deshaun Watson was the quarterback for the Houston Texans. They ran out to a 24-0 lead, but the Chiefs came back, won 51-31. I think we're going to see a little bit fewer points this time around. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to start with you, Kyle. What matchup is going to decide this game between the Texans and Chiefs?
Well, I think the break was really good for the entire group in Kansas City. I mean, even if the guys on the Chiefs offensive line haven't been on the injury report, B-Mac, you can attest to this. You get some time to rest up some bad knuckles or a wrist, or your shoulder starts to feel a little bit better. You get to recharge and be able to thrust forward into the playoffs with a physicality and, what does Harbaugh say, enthusiasm unknown to mankind. You can find that again. And at the end of the regular season, you get your axe gets dull and you get an opportunity to sharpen it. And who better to swing it at than this edge rush group of the Houston Texans, because that's been the lifeblood of this defense. Obviously, Coach Ryans has the guys on the back end dialed in, and they play a physical brand of football at all levels. But the real winners, the real unicorns, the Warlocks are out there at the defensive end position with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. So I think the job for Jawan Taylor and Joe Thuney is going to be the heavyweight matchup that I'll have my eyes on, because it'll allow Patrick Mahomes to do Patrick Mahomes things. I know it's going to be cold at Arrowhead. They're going to be home. They're no stranger to being in this situation. And for C.J. Stroud, I mean, he's going to have to go probably match an offense of Kansas City that is as healthy as it's been all season, which is not good news for C.J. But it's going to be a lot of pass pro, a lot of quick game, and just die slow deaths out there at the tackle position against these rushers who are known winners. I think that's going to be the key factor in the game, Mike.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm right there with you. When you look at the Houston Texans, that is their strength, right? The defensive line, the two-headed monster in Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., they finished with 20-plus sacks. Don't forget about the Nico Autry as well. Look at what Mario Edwards Jr. has done. Collectively speaking, their defensive line, with the depth and experience, they really know how to get after quarterbacks. And if you don't believe me, just go ask Justin Herbert. So they have to give that same impact, but more against Money Pat Mahomes, because he is him. When you look at the first meeting between these two said teams, that was the first game that we saw Pat Mahomes coming, trying to deal with that ankle injury. And we really didn't know exactly what we would get from Pat Mahomes. Well, he showed all of us what type of dog he is in the first drive when he started to make things happen with his ankle. He was hobbled, but he still gave maximum effort, and that led to a great day for Pat Mahomes with 260 yards, 1 touchdown. He also ran for a touchdown. Actually, the first scoring drive came from Pat Mahomes running, scrambling, and being able to score with his legs. So if you can find a way to slow down Pat Mahomes, touch him up a little bit, hit him, collapse the pocket, have sticky-like coverage like you did against the Chargers, that can give C.J. Stroud the extra possessions that is needed. Because one thing that we're starting to see with the Houston Texans, with their team offensively, they're not as electric as we thought they would be, especially being shorthanded at the pass catcher position, not having Tank Dell, not having Stephon Diggs. The only reliable elite-like player at the wide receiver position is Nico Collins, so it puts more pressure on C.J. Stroud in their offensive line that has been below average, to say the least. So this is all about the defensive front for the Houston Texans. If they can find a way to get after Pat Mahomes, that could be the window of opportunity for them to be able to try to steal one out in Arrowhead.
I could not agree with you guys more. I think this matchup, and it starts here, but then it has like knock-on effects to the second level, because what the Texans have are guys who are ball hawks on the back end, whether that's Derek Stingley Jr. on one side, whether that's Kamari Lassiter on the other side, or whether that's Kalen Bullock at free safety, as we saw against the Miami Dolphins. Like, this is a team that is uniquely built to make that game-changing play when it counts most. So it's going to have to come under pressure, because obviously Pat Mahomes from a clean pocket, it's not like he's going to be just throwing him up for grabs. So you're going to have to force him outside or get in his face. And I want to hear what you think about this, Kyle, because I think if I'm Micah Ryans and I have these two talented edge rushers, I'm saying by any means necessary. A lot of times against Patrick Mahomes, the conventional wisdom is don't let him outside the pocket, right? Make him stay in the pocket. I'm thinking that in this game, because of just kind of the lack of rapport he's had with his wide receivers all season long, the fact that he's only averaging 4.5 yards per attempt when he breaks the pocket this year, I'm trying to just get pressure on him by any means necessary, and then we figure it out from there, because when he's scrambling, I have guys that I trust to go find the football in the air when he's, running to his right, running to his left, and still looking down the football field.
Hey, in theory, that is a tremendous way to get after Patrick Mahomes, but you have to understand that we are now at the point of the season that they call the playoffs, and Mr. Travis Kelce, number 87, he is always the break glass in case of emergency guy for Patrick. And while there have been some instances this year where we said, where's Travis Kelce in the game plan? Why can't we get him the football? Coverage dictates a lot of that. And with the health at the receiver position and the way that Joe Thuney sets inside out, Patrick understands that he has time to step up in the pocket, and I'm not worried about a messy dish in terms of guard, center, guard, because these three will be up for the fight against Danico Autry and the guys on the interior. It all comes down to Travis Kelce and which version of Kelce are we going to see? Does he still have playoff Trav in the tank? Because that is a cure-all for this offense.
Yeah, and Kyle, you're talking about playoff Trav. What about divisional Pat Mahomes? Listen to this mind-blowing stats, these numbers from Pat Mahomes in divisional games. He's 6-0 in divisional games. He's yet to lose a divisional game. His teams have scored 33 points. They've averaged 33 points in those 6 games. He's completed 70% of his passes. He's averaged over 300 yards in those said games. 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I repeat, in divisional games, this man has never thrown an interception in his life. He's had a passer rating of 115 in divisional games. We're not talking about week 4 regular season games. We're talking about in divisional matchups when you're playing against good versus good. Great coaching, great execution, great players. This man has thrown 16 touchdowns and 0 interceptions while averaging over 300 yards through the air. Those are crazy numbers from one player in terms of how good he has been. So you talk about playoff Trav. Yeah, a lot of the things that we've seen from playoff Trav has come from divisional Pat, because he plays lights out in divisional matchups.
The other thing to note here, though, the Texans could win this matchup wholesale and still lose this game, because there's another mismatch on the other side of the football. That is Chris Jones going up against these Texans guards. Texans guards have combined to allow over 60 pressures this season. And oh, by the way, Chris Jones is the best pass rushing DT in the NFL. So it's not just that one, but that's basically
and gets
the one.
Better in the playoffs too.
That's the one that that the Texans
in the
have to win. Texans have to win that matchup if they have any chance of winning this game.